Peace, it's Nancy Asicia, and I'm here talking about Black Fertility. I basically wanted to let you all know what I'm doing here with Black Fertility and to introduce you to it, because I feel that it's just something that's just so important that we need to bring back to our attention and to the forefront. So I'm very excited to present Black Fertility. With the decline in birth rates, as has been recorded, I feel as though it's something that we definitely need to bring our attention back to. As you know, no society basically has ever been able to, maintain or sustain itself once it goes below a certain level of children that they're having, which I guess in this case, I think it is 1.8. And we are, if not very close, I think we're near there. I can't remember the exact digits right now, but we basically need to bring attention back to being able to birth children, and fertility needs to be something that is, again, normalized and okay and accepted, and not something that is taboo, and not something that is looked down upon, because we basically went from our grandparents having 12, 13, 14, 15 children even, to basically we're having 2 or 3. And if you have anything more than that, you're looked at as basically a taboo, or just talked really bad about, or not really accepted in society per se. In some cases even ostracized and outcasted, right? And I feel that that's definitely something that we need to fix. That's something that we need to turn around and normalize having multiple children again. So what I want to do for the next few days is basically talk about why you should boost your fertility and why you should do that naturally, right? Because I feel as though a lot of women who are deciding to have children, not only are they waiting too late to do it, but once they do it, they need all types of medical treatment like IVF or IUI and all these other treatments, which in many cases is very unnecessary, right? And if you were to maintain your fertility or consider your fertility younger or earlier, right, you would be able to have a baby naturally. You wouldn't need all these thousands of dollars worth of medication and treatment and procedures that are really straining on the body, right? In some cases, even damaging, in some cases, even can prevent fertility. A lot of people don't know about that when it comes to a lot of fertility treatments, that some of them can actually be damaging your fertility. So I want us to basically bring back our attention to basically having a baby naturally, right? And doing natural things instead of just running right to the doctor. And the other thing I wanted to point out too is how your fertility is basically tied to good health, right? And how infertility is basically tied to poor health and weakened genes. A lot of people don't know that a lot of things that are weakening your fertility are also weakening the genes of your offspring. For example, there was recently a post about a lot of acetaminophenes and how it's actually decreasing the fertility of the baby if the mother takes it when she's pregnant. So it's things like that that we basically need to know about, that most people are not paying attention to because it's just not mainstream, and fertility is not a focal point of this society. So I want our people to, go back and return to the ways of our ancestors and how we used to do things, and how fertility was very important for our survival and our thrival, right? Instead of what has become of it now, which is basically only caring about materialism, capitalism, in this case, social media and so forth, right? And another thing is that the birth rate has declined, and it's declined amongst all races. Not just Black people, not just white, not just Hispanic. It's declined amongst all races. So we're basically at a point where it's like, now is the time to take action. Now is the time if you care. Now is the time if you want your children, if you want to be here in the future, if you want to reincarnate, now is the time to take that action. The birth rate is even declined amongst teens. The teens who they say are, always having these babies young. Even now, teens are not even having babies young. But what's surprising or what's interesting is that teens who are living in the suburbs, their birth rate is actually a little bit higher than the teens who are living in the cities. And that shows the kind of propaganda that is being drilled into these teens' minds, and people who live in the city and people who have this city mentality, is that birth and childbirth is taboo and it's something that we shouldn't be doing. And, it's basically worked because they have been telling us for so long that it's wrong to have a child young and all this. But then you get to be in your late 20s or in early 30s and you're trying to have a baby and you're finding out that this is difficult. Nobody told you how difficult it was going to be, right? After taking all these hormones and birth control pills and birth prevention, methods and so forth. Nobody told you that, it was going to be equally or even more harder to actually have a baby. They made you think it's so easy to get pregnant. And in a lot of cases, it's not. In a lot of cases, women can only be able to conceive twice out of a month. But they don't tell you that. They don't really emphasize that. They'll have you on a birth control pill for 5 years if they can, every single day. Right? So I want us to go back to basically doing things naturally, because you can improve or increase your fertility, and you can do that naturally. You don't need all these medications. You don't need all these procedures and treatments and so forth, right? You can improve your fertility longer, right? We were told that, by the time a woman is 40, she can no longer have children and so forth, or she goes into menopause. And we see that that's not necessarily the case. We see women having children in their 50s and their 60s. Why? Why is that not something that was normal and okay? Why is that seen as something that is just an isolated incident, right? The reason why these women are able to have children that age is because they're still healthy. They're still very vital. Something that they're doing is improving their fertility up until then. They may not be eating all the junk food. They may not be consuming all the mental propaganda and stigmas about childbirth and fertility and so forth, right? So we need to tap into that experience and into that wisdom, right? And I definitely feel that Black people need to, take the action now to increase the birth rate, because we are so easily brainwashed into a lot of the programming, like just being ushered where our attention should go. Black people watch the most TV, and you could look at studies and see that we watch the most TV. That means we're receiving the most brainwashing. In some cases, just so materialistic and, just so driven to capitalism that, we don't really take time to appreciate life and appreciate nature, right? And even appreciate the children that, we could have or should have or, already have, right? So I definitely want to bring back the attention to fertility and to family and life and the things that sustain us and keep us here. And of course, I don't mean keep us here in the lower density energies or anything like that, but keep us here in the harmonious type of way, right? Because it can be done again. We can definitely bring that back. So what I want you to do is to basically go to my bio on Instagram, and I have a link there, right? If you go to that link and subscribe or sign up, send me your email, I'll basically be able to send you notifications of when I'm going to do these lives, some other posts. I'm going to be doing videos, blogs, just other post affirmations, just really and tips on how to boost your fertility naturally. So I'll definitely go to my bio, click on the link and send me your email, so that way I can feed you this information in small bite-sized portions so you can grasp it, because it's a lot of information when dealing with fertility and learning something new, and I want to be able to give that to you, provide it to you in a way that you can understand and that you can actually apply to your life, right? So the next thing I want you to do is obviously to turn on the notifications for this video, whether you're on Instagram or YouTube, right? Turn on the notifications. And then also to tag 3 friends into this video. So if you can find 3 friends who maybe are struggling with infertility, you think should know something about infertility, you basically just want to share this information and, see their reactions, see what they think. Definitely tag 3 friends or share this with 3 friends. And so the next thing again is to also follow for the next 6 days, because I'm going to be doing live streams for at least the next 6 days. 7 days of live streams is what I'm intending on doing. So on day 1, we're basically going to